Good morning, cultists. Welcome to Dessert Time with CthuLoops. Alright, so we just finished our Battle Babushkas campaign, and I gotta say, that was a lot of fun. It was very different from our previous campaign as Socotra, who seems to have regained their independence, interestingly enough. But in any case, it was actually, very different from the Socotra campaign, because this one was a lot more about fighting and dueling and whatnot, which is exactly the way that I planned or hoped for. But it kind of went a little differently than I imagined, because I thought we would be converting to feudal as soon as possible. But no, we actually stayed tribal for the entire campaign, which, like I said in the final episode, was one of my bucket lists for this game, so I'm actually really glad that it kind of went that way. But that was completely unplanned. But yeah, it seems that we can, as a tribal realm, still take on the major players, the major feudal players around the world. So despite our technological inferiority, I guess having the Holy Order really helps, and also being able to pump out a lot more dudes with our retinue certainly helps with the sieging and whatnot. Although, I guess it would have been nice to see like an actual fair royal rumble with the Abbasids. That would have been cool, because I would be interested to see how well we fare against their feudal troops with our tribal troops if we have similar numbers. Obviously, we can trounce them if we have superior numbers. Actually, though, the major fight that we had with the Byzantines, that wasn't too far off in terms of numbers. I think we had a bit of an advantage with them, or over them, by perhaps 1,000 or 2,000-ish troops. But overall, wasn't a huge difference in numbers, so maybe our troops aren't that weak. I mean, we are feudal now, so it's kind of hard to tell, but yeah. Oh, so for our final act as Russia, we basically turned the Abbasid Empire into our tributary state. Oh, sorry, the Mahdi Empire, or the Arabian Empire, into our tributary state, and also made them Inatic open. So same succession law as us, which is pretty fucking awesome. Also, we converted the Byzantine Empire, but they broke off from us. I guess I'm not sure. Maybe they were stronger than us, because I think that's that gives the AI an incentive or excuse to a break. Yeah, it could have been that. It could have been that they were just briefly stronger than we are in terms of a troop count, and then they use that to break away. But yeah, so the Matriarchal Deposition Wars, we finally got to try out in this campaign, and they're pretty fucking cool. I mean, the whole thing with Bukal was very confusing, but I think what happens is it finds the most appropriate female ruler, or most appropriate female candidate for the matriarchal takeover, and then it makes her she replaces the ruler of the top tier, a top title. But if that person happens to be your courtier or someone in your realm, I think they just end up being your vassal too. And I think that's kind of what happened with the Bukal, because I think the Queen of Bulgaria, who initially took it over, or who we installed onto the throne, who was it? Was it her? Yeah, I think it was her. I think she might have been Bukal's courtier. Like, she was maybe married to the wrong dude or the right dude or whatever. And I guess she was married to him. Right, the Kagan. That would make sense that she would take over then. Alright, fair enough. So, the mechanics behind it are a little, I think, messed up. So, I mean, obviously at this point they're not going to fix it, but it is interesting. So keep that in mind if you want to do your own matriarchal deposition or patriarchal deposition wars, which I believe also exist. But seeing as how the majority of the medieval world is under a patriarchy anyways, I don't think you'll actually get much opportunity to do a patriarchal deposition war, even if you chose to do agnatic clans and all that such. Yeah, very cool. It is weird that Germany was able to join France and other Christian realms in their defense, though. I feel like that's a bit of an oversight. I'm their suzerain. I get that our relationship is a little tenuous, but I feel like they shouldn't be allowed to defy my rule or my sovereignty over theirs and defend their, you know, religious brethren, etc., just because I'm going to war with them under religious grounds and whatnot. I don't know, seems odd, but I'm assuming that if that's possible, sorry, I'm assuming that's not nothing to do with the matriarchal deposition wars. I'm assuming that's just possible regardless of whether or not, however that person became your tributary state. Unless that doesn't actually happen. I don't think I've ever seen that though. We've had instances in the past where we turned, or is it because I turned them into tributaries and not tributary states? Yeah, that might be different because I think as a tributary state, I can't call these guys into my wars, but they can do it the other way around. Yeah, that might be it. Because I know the tributary state is just a kind of a weaker version of the tributary thing, but a longer lasting one, like a more permanent one, until there's a change in the, house that rules the title and whatnot. But, yeah, very, very cool that there was included in the first place, I suppose. I just wish it was, you know, kind of ironed out a little bit better, and they didn't end up with this weird Bukal situation, which appeared to have stayed permanently throughout the entire campaign. So he kind of fucked over Bulgaria there. So I apologize to anyone living in Bulgaria who got fucked over by my interfering and whatnot, but that was totally not my intention. I was hoping that we can make Bulgaria a tributary state and watch over it like a big brother or big sister, but no. Bukal just had to fuck everything up. Bastards. One thing I will say that I didn't really enjoy was the constant nomad agitation from taking over these places. I think the nomad agitation system, I mean, I think it's meant to be a deterrent so that you just don't rampage through Horse Lord territory and just take everything over. You have to be more methodical and careful and slow with your approach, which makes sense, I get it, but I do wish that once nomad agitation has been effectively stomped out, whether it's through tribal means or whatever, it doesn't come back. I know after like 100 years of a county being in a under a non-nomadic rule, eventually it does go away, I think. Yeah, so that will expire in like 82 years or whatever. But still very annoying. I do wish that the system was modified, but oh well. I mean, it's not like the game is difficult to begin with, so yeah, it's fine, I guess. I'm just, you know, nitpicking at this point, I suppose. So let's do a tour around the world first, and then we'll go into our family history, because I don't think there's very many characters to talk about. This is our second generation. Wow, that is... Okay, we'll leave that for after the tour around the world. So looking at Scandinavia here, we were able to convert Finland to matriarchal deposition, but unfortunately she got ousted like almost immediately. Yeah, she got to rule like 1 year and 4 months, which was about the length of my first relationship, so... a little odd there, but she ended up becoming Slavic? Whoa. How did that happen? Oh, I think she was actually a courtier, not a courtier of mine personally, I don't think. Oh, no. I know exactly who these guys are. Oh man, they're the dudes that we brought in for, to make babies with the merged bloodlines and such. Oh, wow. Oh, so she was my direct courtier, and when I did our matriarchal deposition war, it just... Oh yeah, very cool, I guess. But yeah, it seems like Finland and Svitjod have kind of switched places, which is kind of interesting. I'm surprised that they regained the kingdom of Svitjod, though. So how did you create that, though? Right. So I guess there was a Gavelkind succession. So, but how did you make that kingdom title? I'm assuming you didn't have the majority of the kingdom of Svitjod. Or did he? It's a bit of a mystery, but okay. So I guess somehow they were able to recreate the Kingdom of Svithjod despite not having the majority of the territory, I don't think. But in any case, Scandinavia is still largely Germanic. Unfortunately, they were not able to reform their faith, which is, yeah, quite sad. Because normally, the Germanic pagan religion is the first pagan religion to get reformed, but not in this instance, I suppose. I think there might have been too much infighting and whatnot. They should have just let Svithjod win. Then they could have reformed and we could have been pagan brothers and sisters in arms. But no! You just couldn't do it, could you? Ugh, unfortunate. Alright, so religion map mode for Scandinavia, including Iceland. Cultural map mode, still largely Norse. Sami being kind of stomped out, it seems. And Finnish also, I guess, kind of losing its way. Because I think all the independent rulers in Scandinavia are probably... Yeah, there's some Sami here and there, but they're largely Norse. Alright, cool. The British Isles, ruled by Anglo-Saxon Ireland, and also... Oh! Oh, whoa, you went back to being Pictish. Or... did you not? Oh, yeah. Okay, so went from being Anglo-Saxon back to Pictish. Same dynasty, though. Oh, that's your brother. I see. Interesting that you guys ended up with different cultures, but okay, cool. Otherwise, it seems like certain duchies in Wales are kind of growing a little bit, but not really. No. Waldesian, wow. What's the moral authority for Catholicism? It's recuperating a little bit, but not by much. Alright, well, cultural map mode for the British Isles, and religion map mode, in case anyone's curious. Let me know if there's anything that you want me to investigate. Yeah, and I'll try to look into it after or something. And France, which was at one point matriarchal, I guess it still kind of is, but not really. I think it still favors dudes over girls, in succession at least. But yeah, back to being ruled by a queen, which is great, as is Italy. I guess they defeated their rebellion, which is interesting because I think the rebellion was winning at some point. But might have been just a case of momentary letting the rebellion be, all that such, and then just gaining, taking war score stuff. And Transjurania and Provence are now independent. Cool. Well, have fun, guys. Aquitaine, I don't think we had any interaction with, and they're all, I guess it's a, yeah, that's a offshoot branch of the Callings, I guess. How did this start exactly? Whoa, there's a lot of dudes. Wait, so, oh, right, okay. So it started with him. We started 769, so I'm assuming this bastard dynasty was already established? Jerome Carling? Huh. Cool. But yeah, that's France and Aquitaine. Religion map mode, in case you're curious there. A little bit of a Catharism and Waldesian heresy popping up here and there, but largely still Catholic. Yeah, it's a shame that we didn't see any crazy heresy stuff happening with Catholicism in this run, but that's fine. And the Iberian Peninsula, it seems like the Catholic presence is making a return. Wow, Hashid Revolt. I don't think you'll actually win, but good luck to you guys. And good to see that the herpes is rampaging through Europe. Absolutely fantastic. What you should do is bang this guy's wife so that she gets herpes, and then she bangs him, and then he gets herpes. And it's kind of like you guys banged each other. You know, penis buddies or whatever, I guess, maybe. And then you can establish dominance as you rub your herpes-infested genitals over his face. With his consent, of course. But in any case, what were we talking about? Rubbing our dicks together? Maybe. But yeah, the Iberian Peninsula is still largely Sunni. With some Catholic heresies here and there, too. But yeah, that's... Oh, I thought you were actually Druze. Sadly, you are not. I'm assuming the body... presence is gone now, right? Yeah. Hopefully this Byzantine revolt doesn't win, but not that it really matters at this point since, you know, the campaign is done and dusted, so yeah. Alright, so Africa. Surprisingly still largely African. Yeah. I suppose it takes a little bit longer than this to have the entire place turn Muslim, but still, I'm actually kind of surprised that they were largely unmolested. For the most part. I mean, East Africa is just completely swallowed up, but still. Alright, so religion map mode for Africa in case you're curious. Cultural map mode. Are any of these guys rich? Because I know they have gold mines and such. Some of them are. Yes. Yeah. Surprisingly rich dudes. 546 ducats. Very nice. Good for you. Mahdi revolt. Oh, right. That's the revolt against the tyranny. But that was the former caliph. Why would you still be at war with them? You would think that it would be nullified at this point. What? You're winning? Oh no. That's not good. Can you not be defeated by this stupid revolt? Because they have very few troops in comparison to your own, so hopefully they can actually quash them, but oh well, that's fine. Another thing I was kind of surprised by was how long the Zune bills lasted. I mean, obviously, they're no longer their former selves, but still, I was kind of surprised to see that the Zunists had survived for, I think, a couple of weeks of worth of content. Yeah, I think it was after the second or third tour around the world, so episode 14 or 21, when they got stomped out, but yeah, good for them. It's a shame that we'll never see the AI actually reform Zunism, because that would be awesome if they could. Religion map mode for this part of the world, in case you're curious. Still largely Zunist there, which is cool, and still some fairly heavy Zoroastrian presence. And cultural map mode. Sure. Oh, I guess we didn't really look in on the Byzantines. Yeah, they remained iconoclast, which isn't completely unheard of. But usually they do abandon that and become Orthodox, but I guess... Are there any Orthodox dudes in this world, or are they all just considered heretics, I wonder? Let me quickly take a look. This is where I show off my embarrassing inability to remember the order of the alphabets. But it turns out that Orthodoxy is indeed a iconoclast heresy right now. Gotcha. I see. Right, because the two are in direct opposition to each other. Right. So India... Still largely kind of a mess, but I think until they adopt primogeniture or whatever, I think India continues to remain a mess. Yeah, I think I saw the AI get fairly close to unifying all of India at one point, but it's very rare. So yeah, oh well. Religion map mode, still largely Hindu, I think. I mean, in terms of the actual counties themselves that are Jain, but I don't think they have any Jain rulers, do they? No, either Buddhist or Hindu. Largely Hindu, but more Buddhist to the east, I guess. And Tibet is a giant fucking mess. Wow. I don't think I've seen Tibet struggle this much in a campaign before. I mean, I've seen them get swallowed up by the Western Protectorate. That doesn't really count, though, because the Western Protectorate has the backing of China, so they can just basically curb stomp anyone, so that's not surprising. But yeah, it's unusual to see Tibet struggle so much. I see revolts from time to time, but they're generally good about quashing it, but I guess not in this case. And Khotan is actually kind of an interesting presence as well. I don't think I've actually seen them form in Kingdom before. Manichaean too, feudal at that. Wow, interesting. Well, good for you guys. And the Western Protectorate, still Taoist. So, yeah, I guess it's kind of disappointing that we didn't tussle with China, but if we wanted to tussle with China, we need to get in much, much closer. So we basically need to rampage through all of this Horse Lord territory, which I'd really rather not do. And also... No, still can't upgrade to a castle, it seems. What am I missing? It could just be that it's been a while since I've done any pagan to feudal stuff, so maybe I don't really remember how exactly it's supposed to be done. But I'm pretty sure. Do I need to click on myself? No, that's not it. Maybe we haven't changed a law that we need to change? I don't think that's it either. Alright, well, that's fine. It's not really a mystery that we need to solve right now. But religion map mode, in case you're curious about the Horse Lord territory. And cultural map mode. And same with Tibet. Still largely Buddhist. Any Bun rulers? Because they did enjoy my Bun campaign. No, it doesn't seem like it. Alright, cool. So let's take a look at our family history. It's gonna be a short one though, I'll tell you that much, because this is still our second generation. Wow. Dobrava and Simus lived for very long times, and actually Dobrava... Wow. I thought that we... No. Dobrava lived to be 87, so obviously we haven't outlived her yet, but damn. That's pretty intense. So our first character, Dobrava, accomplished so much, like holy shit. I wasn't expecting her to last for this long, but she truly embodied the essence of what it means to be a Battle Babushka. She killed 221 people, or at least 221 people died by her hand. I don't know how many were actually killed in terms of duels or murders or whatever. I think we... One thing that actually kind of surprised me in this campaign is how little we used our intrigue stuff. Like, we didn't plot to kill many people. I think I can probably count on my two hands the number of people that we had to assassinate in this campaign. I think it might have been maybe 3? Because I remember we assassinated the ruler of Tana. And then we also... Who else did we assassinate? We were plotting on assassinating this guy, Bashkiria, but then we just ended up dueling him and killing him through that way. I don't know if we'll be able to... Yeah, we can't see the number of duels and whatnot, but Dobrava dueled a lot of people. I don't know if she ever lost a single time. I think she has. I think she might have lost maybe once or twice. And I remember Simus lost a couple times too, but... yeah, so Simus has had 34 duels. She lost maybe 2 or 3, but holy shit, wow. What's your... Oh, you only have one ruthless duelist. Okay, so you're nowhere close to being able to get the headhunter bloodline then. That's fine, that's fine. Would have been nice, but we got, let's see, we got the Empire of Rus campaign, or achievement, as well as Ruska Pravda, which... No, that was the Empire of Rus one. The other one was the Lech, Czech, and Rus, I think? Yeah, and that's when we formed the Slavic Union, which I believe still exists. It should, I think. Yes, so we can make that our primary. Ah. I don't mind the dark green. I actually don't mind the Pepto-Bismol pink either. But, yeah, that'll be our official color and name, because Russia is kind of bigger than the Slavic Union. By a wide margin, I'd say. Okay, so Dobrava ended up killing a lot of people. Absolute fucking badass. Only birthed 5 children, though. But I think... When did we start? How old was she when she started? I don't remember, but I think she was actually fairly young. She started as the Duchess of Kiev, so instead of Russia taking over Ukraine, I guess it was kind of the other way around. Although we didn't really take over Russia, we formed Russia, so we created Russia, in essence, in this world. Yeah, sorry, I'm just like jumping all over the place here. Let's see, so Dobrava, by herself, managed to forge 3 bloodlines. The, what's it, the Martial one, which we've had many times before, so... I mean, I don't know what other bloodline we could have gotten as Dobrava. I guess maybe the Intrigue one, but that doesn't seem very thematically fitting, so I guess this was kind of the only one that we could really get that made sense. And then we got the Raider's Blood, which didn't really help us too much when it comes to raiding artifacts. I think we may have looted possibly 3 artifacts that I can count or that I can remember when we got this blood. But usually it seemed like capturing prisoners was what was boosted by this, rather than artifacts. But yeah, holy shit. I think once we started capturing a lot more prisoners, our economy just went through the roof. But damn, yeah, our I was kind of half joking a little bit when I said that human trafficking is basically our entire economy, but it kind of turned out that way, didn't it? Yeah, it was only until it was only when we made the trade post and then China opened up and it was golden age and such, we started to actually make a bit of money on the side, and we were getting a bit of a tribute from the other realms early on, but once we lost those tributes after we swallowed them up, that was all gone. So I guess I have too many people in my court. Well, that's fine. And it's also a bit of a shame that we didn't get the Great Works completed in this campaign, but that's fine. We've had many of these before. At least not the... Well, maybe not the Grand University in any of our campaigns, but we've had, I think, the majority of them before, so... Yeah, nothing too special there. Let's see. So, out of Dobrava's children, we've had Radoslav, her firstborn, who didn't really accomplish too much. No, he dueled this guy and killed him, and that's about it. That was your only notable thing in life. Sure, and Rostislav also didn't accomplish too much. Simus, though, wow. Simus did a whole bunch. Pluton and Edelgard, I was actually kind of surprised how long Edelgard lived on for. At least in this universe. In our previous universe, the one that was corrupted by dark forces or whatever the fuck we, I guess, justify it as, died a little bit earlier, but yeah, despite being mangled, holy shit. I don't think I've ever seen a mangled person, at least in this campaign, or in this game rather, live for so long. 71, and I think after she was mangled, she still continued to kill people, right? Yeah, she killed someone last year. Like, 2 months before she died, succumbed to her injuries. That's insane. Absolutely insane. But good for Edelgard. I guess she kind of lived up to her titular character's prowess and whatnot, right? Ish, maybe? And Olga and Voislav. Voislav unfortunately kind of died young due to his cancer. Olga, though, still kicking it and doing fairly decently as my spy master. Yeah. And not a hint of a betrayal from her, which is pretty cool. So, on to Simus, our second character. I don't think I've ever had a campaign where we've only had 2 characters played. I think we've had other campaigns where we've had like maybe 3 or 4 characters for the entire series, but never one with just 2. But yeah. So Simus, who's still alive and kicking it, not as good of a duelist as her mother, I don't think, because she did lose a couple of duels. She's responsible for almost the same, well, not almost, off by 40-ish, so off 35 to be exact. So we killed 35 fewer people than Dobrava did, but she's also younger by Dobrava by 11 years. 11 years! Holy shit. Yeah, I think Dobrava might actually... How old was McConnell when he died? I remember he was fairly old. I think he was in his 80s as well, so I don't know if Dobrava has unseated him as my longest living character, but at least longest living non-immortal character. Yeah. So anyways, Simus, I think she became a duelist later on in life, because I completely forgot about the... Oh no, choose military aspect is... Oh, right, it's in the last thing. I see. Right, so I guess we couldn't have become a duelist anyways until we became a heroine. But yeah, I thought I was kind of hoping I would get that achievement when we got that event saying that, oh, you could just be a duelist right now because you know, had enough duels. But no, sadly, no bloodline and all that such, but oh well, that's fine. So, Simus didn't... Wait. I guess with Simus we did create the Empire of Russia, so that's our primary achievement. Sadly, no bloodline with that though. Yeah, it would be really cool if we got a bloodline with that as well. But that's fine. At least we got the bloodline for forming the Slavic Union, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, Simus, you know what, Simus? You did pretty well on your own, I would say. Especially our expansion into the east. That was rapid and very, well, I don't know about well done. I don't want to congratulate myself here, but, you know, I'm just complimenting on Simus in her ability to expand that quickly. But yeah, that duel with Bashkiria was pretty awesome. And I think that's one of the things that I enjoyed most about this campaign is just duels. Because we had so few of them as in our last couple of campaigns, I think. But I suppose that dueling and whatnot kind of comes with the pagan territory. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the, I think, ever-present, was it 1% or 3% chance for a person with incredibly high personal combat skill to lose against someone who's got, like, negative personal combat skill, but, thankfully, it didn't happen very often in this campaign. Had it happen a couple of times, I think, because when we had that entrance exam thing for the heroine position, we dealt with some dude who had like negative something worse or a personal combat skill, was it? I forget who it was. I think he died. What a loser. Ugh, just the worst. But yeah, so Simus had a lot more children, which is cool. But that's one thing that I guess it's a little challenging when you're playing as a female character. But I suppose that's kind of part of the fun, is just you don't have as many children as you do if you're a dude. Especially since you stop giving birth at the age of 45. I don't know. I do kind of wish there was a more... I suppose it's kind of like real life, though. You can't, like, always plan for children. Even if you try really hard, sometimes it's just not in the cards. But, yeah, that's a shame. I think one thing you can do to combat that, though, is... depending on your succession type, you can always make sure that your sisters and your various other female characters in your dynasty are also married and have various consorts and are constantly giving birth and shit. But I think the big problem with that in our case is because we were tribal and our court size was fairly limited, I didn't feel it was smart for me to just have our various daughters and whatnot keep pumping out babies unchecked. Because then we're just gonna run out of people in space in my court and have to pay out of my fucking nose for accommodation and all that such. So, a bit of a shame there, but yeah, that's, I think, a proper way to combat the, I guess, lower birth rate as a female ruler and all that such. I don't know if there's anything else to address. I do wish it would actually tell me how many people I killed, like, personally, and people who didn't die in my dungeons. Because obviously a lot more people died in my dungeons than I killed. But it would be really cool to see how many people I actually dueled and murdered in combat and such. But yeah, I think one thing that I really would have enjoyed is if we... I guess it would kind of make more sense in a Gavelkind kind of succession, wouldn't it? Being able to duel someone and take their land as a result of said duel. I think I have that achievement already, though. I forget when I got it, or do I not have that achievement? I don't remember. I need to check, but yeah. So I think, shoot, I should have checked how many achievements I have now. Let me actually just do that. Look that up on Steam right now. I have, at the moment of this recording, unlocked 125 out of 161 achievements, so 77%. A lot of the ones that I haven't unlocked are the very specific ones. Although, actually, I did kind of do them off camera. Like the one to... Was it on the yoke of Englishmen or something? I don't know. Things like that where you play as a very specific character. I haven't done too much of until fairly recently. So things like getting the theologian trait, having 6 close family members as friends, like the non-generic stuff. I think some of these I haven't unlocked as well, but I'm not too concerned about them. So, yeah, as achievement hungry as I am, I find that doing achievement campaigns kind of makes it difficult to roleplay and whatnot, but yeah, hopefully that's something that we can get more into in CK3 and all that such. Alright, well, I'm not sure if there's more to address, especially since we've only had one succession in this campaign, but I think that's going to be it for our post-mortem. I apologize if it was really rambly and kind of all over the place, but I suppose that's kind of been the this campaign in a nutshell, hasn't it? Kind of been rambly and all over the place, as befitting a babushka, of course. Force-feeding our grandchildren kompots and smacking them upside the head for speaking back to their elders, etc., etc. And then dueling them and also killing them in combat. So very stereotypical Russian grandmother, I imagine. But yeah, that's going to be it for post-mortem, I think. Again, do let me know if there's anything that you want me to investigate in terms of the various realms and whatnot. But I don't think there's really much to investigate, so... Yeah, I mean, even if I did, though, I wouldn't really be able to tell you what exactly happened with some of these places. Like, it's a bit of a mystery, but... Yeah. Okay, so, I mean, I'm sure you've already heard this in the final episode, but in case you haven't, as this is the actual final episode, or the final video of this series, I just wanted to say, if you enjoyed the post-mortem, do leave me a like. I do appreciate that. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and if you aren't already, be sure to subscribe to get more stuff for CK2, possibly in the future, and CK3 definitely when it comes out. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so via Patreon, or by joining the channel as a member via YouTube, or by subscribing to me on Twitch. I think those are the 3 ways. But again, you just spending time from your busy day and enjoying my content is more than enough for me, so yeah. Alright guys, well that's going to be it for our post-mortem, so thank you very much for dropping by for this relatively shorter post-mortem. I've noticed that they've gotten longer as the campaigns went on, but this one's gonna be, I guess, a shorter one. It's funny how they kind of started out being like 15 minutes, and then I think one of them ended up being like an hour or something. The power of my rambliness, I guess. So I do apologize for the verbal diarrhea, but I'm assuming if you're here, then you already kind of expect that, and you've maybe even come for it, question mark? But who knows. Alright guys, well, that's going to be the official end of our Battle Babushkas campaign, so I hope to see you guys in our inaugural CK3 campaign, whenever that comes out. Alright, so thank you so much for watching, and have an amazing breakfast, and also dessert.